Hello, everyone. Welcome to the another podcast episode, Everything Websites. As you know, my name is Stefan, so I'm your host. And today I have another special guest. His name is Uroš Mikić, CEO and founder of Flow Ninja, I can really say, one of the largest Webflow agencies in the world. They won in 2023 the award from Webflow for the Enterprise Agency of the Year. And yeah, so we're both Serbians. It's going to be, we're going to speak on English because of you. So it's a huge sacrifice. I hope you're going to appreciate it. So Uroš, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
No problem. It's been very exciting. And this is a huge topic. I mean, obviously we cannot talk about everything related to Webflow, especially in the future about Webflow. But we'll try to get as many things as possible without rushing, of course. So to start, we just want to ask you, I mean, I know that you've been along in the Webflow game, and Webflow is being relevant in website development for also quite a long time. So what do you think why Webflow has been able to be a key player for such a long time in the website development landscape?
Yeah, of course. Sure. So I do believe that, of course, it depends on the market because they enter the market in an interesting way. Looking at the competition, I don't believe that they have any competition like for like the ICP or like for the target personas they're targeting. Like if you see the kind of how websites rise and stuff like that, you're gonna see that the website is Webflow is rising with websites which have a lot of traffic. So the more traffic you want to have, the more complex CMS you want to use, and Webflow has basically positioned them like as an all-in-one platform where kind of they outperform, like in my opinion, kind of WordPress, because WordPress needs to have a lot of additional kind of plugins and a lot of additional kind of technologies on top of that in order to be the platform for kind of those big websites, or it's gonna be headless. And like some of the other kind of competitors like Adobe Experience Manager are too expensive, and like headless solution require like Contentful and stuff like that. They also require a lot of development and a lot of custom work in order to kind of make like things happen. So in the end, I do believe that Webflow is like really uniquely positioned on the market, and that's why it's been able to grow and kind of to continue kind of further. And also on the other side, I do believe that they're not kind of having any abstractions of development. All of the other platforms try to create an abstract way for you to develop a website, even though you have zero clue kind of how websites are built. Versus Webflow is the only platform that actually teaches you how the internet works, and by learning that, you can also kind of create better websites and websites which even Google and everything like that is gonna like. I know that there is kind of competition like Framer, but I think that they're kind of competing in two different markets, and both tools are kind of really good. I see Framer more for kind of like startups, like which don't have a lot of funding, or like for freelancers and stuff like that, where it's gonna you're early stage and kind of you're growing, and then like when you start getting like a lot more pages onto your website, that's when you kind of like, in my opinion, kind of transition to Webflow, and that based off of that, kind of you can scale long term.
Yeah, Webflow in the beginning, I know that it had a completely different positioning. Let's say they were trying to go with the web apps stuff, and then they transitioned to the more websites and more enterprise solutions. I think they're still kind of in a middle ground with the competition. Of course, WordPress is still number one with the amount of websites they have built over the years, obviously, because they're the first. Framer, I mean, they're better than Framer, in my opinion, from that point. But there are also other platforms like Drupal, which are more enterprise solutions. So, I mean, better for way larger companies. So for now, Webflow is kind of like in the middle ground. So what do you think, how they're gonna scale from that perspective?
Yeah. So I think, like one of them is like they need to be like on the market for a really long time. So like because enterprises are not gonna choose a platform that came out yesterday. A specific amount of time needs to pass by before enterprises are actually kind of, okay, this is a credible solution we can use. That's the first part. And then I think the second part is, as we have like 12 to 15 enterprise clients at the moment in the agency, I do see the enterprise offering evolving more and more and kind of offering more and more things kind of to enterprises, which are kind of maybe available on Drupal, maybe available on Adobe Experience Manager. And I do personally believe that we see more and more companies moving away from Drupal, moving away from Adobe Experience Manager over to Web. It is expensive, so that's the only part. Is like the company needs to kind of have a specific a specific budget for digital in order to make something like this happen. But on the other side, like if they have, it's probably going to be cheaper than all of the other alternatives. And I don't know, like in terms of scale, we have websites which have like 150,000 CMS items. So I mean, I do believe that that's kind of really large scale. It cannot scale to enterprise e-commerce sizes, because like if you're building an enterprise e-commerce, like you might have like a million SKUs and stuff like that. For that, it's probably not like the best solution. But so far, for any kind of marketing related CMS websites, which is product led growth, we have not seen any blockers so far in terms of kind of like Webflow and kind of how Webflow performs.
Yeah, I think also it's pretty easy. I mean, I never tried Drupal, to be honest, so I don't know what's the user's perspective from that point, and how marketing teams and other teams manage to keep up with the updates and stuff. But I know that on Webflow side, it's pretty straightforward. It's very, very easy to update, to manage, to find your way around, to work with a team, and they're going forward that direction, which is great. So yeah, I think for now, yeah, it's not like for a super huge, like a million items, but it's, as you said, a couple of thousand, couple of hundreds of thousand. It's still pretty good and doesn't have any problems with it, which I think it's very important for both small and large companies. I mean, I know that all Webflow websites are very stable. Never happened in my life that website crashes. So, which is very important, and it did happen with WordPress or maybe some other platforms, especially the ones that don't have their own hosting. Yeah, but do you have any? Actually, you did mention, but do you have maybe any other real life example of enterprise company, how they handle the Webflow, how they find the Webflow as a tool using for their purposes?
Yeah, of course. So I mean, like I guess everybody here knows Upwork, so like it's a platform like that everybody can search jobs and stuff like that on. And like for example, like for them, the whole marketing website has been like on Webflow, and it's been a huge time saver for their marketing team and for their growth team to kind of go ahead and kind of push forward like when it comes to that. So they're using it for the logged out state. They're even integrating their login experiences. I mean, like so that like you can by recognizing the cookie, you can recognize who's logged in and like show a different experience to that person. I don't know, we work with checkout.com. They have 10 different regions. So they have 10 different websites which have completely different content, completely different sitemaps in different regions. And all of that is reverse proxied with Webflow. And I mean, like the like you can go on and on and on about kind of these use cases. And the more we use Webflow, the more we find Webflow being able to do a lot more things than we ever kind of thought that it's possible to do it. And like at one point, like we just started also kind of Wiz and Xano as platforms, just that we make like even like integrations with API backends a lot easier to manage. So I mean, like sometimes you can connect directly to the Webflow CMS on the backend, but sometimes like we like to use Wiz and Xano and like just proceed to kind of in that route. And on the other side, like Webflow CMS has also been expanded in terms of the API. So you're also able to use Webflow CMS as a headless CMS if you want to. So I don't think that there are any other kind of CMSs where you have full flexibility that your marketing team can do whatever you want to, but on the other side that you still have an open API. And if you need to use the content somewhere, like in different places, you can still do so.
Yeah. Do you think that Webflow made a good choice not focusing on, because now before they had this logic thing that they trying to invest to, but then now they dropped it and gave everything to the, I don't know, Zapier, Make and others. Even now, as you said, Wiz and Xano can help with that stuff. Do you think it's a good way to go from their perspective?
Yeah. So personally, I mean, whatever you do, you need to be the best in it. And like when you have competition like Zapier, you're not gonna be the best automation platform. So like when you have competition like I know Wiz, Xano, Bubble, you're not gonna be the best no-code builder kind of for platforms. But for example, like actually IntelliMize was our client before Webflow purchased kind of IntelliMize kind of company. In terms of like the website experience, like A/B testing and stuff like that, there is not a lot of competition in A/B testing, honestly. A lot of platforms are really expensive. A lot of them are really hard to integrate into websites. And by just looking at that, it seems like a logical choice that like if you're gonna focus on something, like you're gonna focus on analytics and A/B testing where there's not a lot of competition and where you can say, hey, we're the best website experience platform out there, and like nobody else can beat us at that.
Yeah, I mean we use a lot Hotjar, but Hotjar does not have that good A/B testing. You can kind of do A/B testing, but not that seamlessly. But I know I mentioned it in your previous LinkedIn post that you've been trying this A/B testing option within a Webflow. Well, what's your experience with that? I mean, is it pretty good or need more improvement?
Yeah, so I mean, like for us, let's say this month we're gonna get about 40 leads, kind of just from our website, which are like 30 of them are ICP, so like actual clients we can work with.
Yeah.
And a lot of the increase came from an A/B testing on our pricing page. So I mean, technically, it's, let's say, a lot of money, like because it's like $300 per month when you look
At
at it that
least.
way. But on the other side, if I can get like one deal more on a monthly basis because I've done A/B testing, like for me as a small, like I mean, like we have 50 people in house, but like
Yeah.
as a smaller business compared to US size, and I can make an
Yeah.
ROI on that, I don't see a reason why anybody else would not do the same thing. Depending on your traffic, of course, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But I do believe that kind of for those core pages, making updates, specifically as your website gets more and more traffic, making updates in a logical way where you make an update and you're like, you know what, I'm backed by numbers that this change that I wanted to make is better. It can be a huge game changer, because I don't know, like we have a call to action, grow my project, and I thought this might be too vague, and let's
Yeah.
change that to book a demo or something like that, and like the conversions dropped by 50% because I don't know, maybe
Wow.
people thought that book a demo is like a really big commitment, or I have no idea, but like in the
Yeah.
end, like if usually
Shows
you
the
make changes
results.
like that really quickly on the website by making like the main call to action of the whole website in a different copy, because like you woke up one morning and thought that that's good. But this way you can have actual numbers and say, hey, you know what, a lot of my ideas are really good, but a lot of them are shit, so like just don't implement them.
Yeah. A lot of people are going with assumptions and thinking that's the best way to go. I mean, yeah, of course, a lot of this stuff is backed by your experience, but it's never the same. The users are always different depending on how you work. So you really need analysis and data to back up what you're saying. I don't think that people are afraid of spending money on useful tools. It's just that they are not sure how this tool is useful, how much use they can get from this tool. And that's maybe the most, and especially because the way the Webflow, this is kind of like a new tools. So they don't know, it's paid based on traffic. I mean, that's fine, but yeah, so it's still something to think about. But I think if there are more opinions from people that already use it, like testimonials, I think people are starting to use it more, and it's good because it's native tool. So I think that's very important. But what do you think? I mean, yeah, of course we cannot know that, but what do you think? What would be maybe some of the new features that Webflow might introduce this year or soon
I
with
mean,
all this what they're building right now?
so I do believe that in terms of like A/B testing, there's a lot of things to pull from the platform into, like from the A/B testing platform into Webflow. So I do believe that we're gonna see a lot more things natively available inside of Webflow for A/B testing. So I'm sure that that's gonna be kind of a huge thing. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, like I would love to see what they do with e-commerce. So that's been like a huge thing. Nobody kind of told any, like they're not talking about a lot.
Yeah,
And looking at the CTO being from Shopify, like I do hope that maybe they can open a new market with that as well. I have no idea, honestly, like are they going to do anything with that? But that would be one of the things that I would like them to kind of maybe expand upon, because it would also, like the same thing like with website experience manager, like the same thing would be really good kind of for Webflow to do. I mean, like I would personally like them to maybe kind of go to more a headless direction, where you, like Webflow is a headless front end and they like integrate with Shopify and backend. But we'll see. I mean, like that. Those are just my wishes, I guess, in the end.
yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of afraid of their next step because they're just starting to drop off things that I thought they might be investing in, and e-commerce would be a very good step for them to invest to, but they really didn't invest almost at all recently in that. So I hope this year or any year soon, e-commerce will be a part of their progress and something they're gonna
Yeah,
focus on.
yeah.
And we know from the last year that since they acquired Intellimize, and what was the name of the other
GSAP.
one for the GSAP, yeah.
Yeah.
So they will focusing a lot on animations, and I also hoping that they will. I mean, since they acquired Intellimise, they might focus on SEO as well to kind of to work like a ChatGPT to help with maybe with the alt text, meta description, stuff like that are a bit time consuming, but can be very simple if used on a website directly in Webflow.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully they will invest in that as well. Yeah. So what do you think about, sorry, 1 second, just there was something here that I wanted to talk, but I missed it. How should agencies use Webflow to meet the client needs at scale?
Yeah. So I think it's mostly about, I guess, like mindset shifts. So we changed our agency to like be more of a strategic partner to our clients, and then we use Webflow as an implementation tool. So instead of selling Webflow as a tool, then that your only pitch to clients is, hey, you need to use Webflow. You need to understand kind of what are their needs, kind of what problems they had previously, what are the needs they want to change. And you need to make sure that all of their kind of pains are going to be alleviated kind of with a new website. And then you can only add kind of, you know what, we're going to use Webflow for that. It's gonna be good for this, this, and this. Instead of trying to just sell the platform, and then like if you're just selling the platform, it's going to be pretty hard for them to make a decision or to choose you above any other agency, because you need to really make what's unique with your collaboration kind of with the client, and that they're really sure and like that they're focused on their pains and how they're going to be alleviated kind of after the migration. And then like finally is going to be the thing, you know what, like all of these things are available on Webflow, and we're going to use Webflow as a platform because it perfectly aligns with your vision.
Yeah. And what do you think how Webflow stands with the other platforms like WordPress, for example? Because WordPress is the largest. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I compare Webflow and WordPress as Android and Apple. Yeah, I mean, like WordPress is Android, Webflow is Apple. So like it all depends in the end, like on which systems do people have. Like I'm not gonna say that WordPress is a bad platform. It's not. Like you can make incredible things, and like maybe it's even more powerful than Webflow, like if you use it in the right way. But it allows you for a lot of customization, a lot of updates, a lot of, I mean, upkeeping on a monthly basis and maintenance. And some people like that, and some people want to go that route because it's more of an Android. You can change whatever you want to. You can change even hosting providers. You have all of the flexibility in the world. Whereas like with Apple, people who lock into the Apple ecosystem, you're like, you know what? I'm sure that whatever they made is the best possible, and I don't want to touch that. Like in terms of the core feature set of the platform, and you're going to use the core feature set of the platform to have them as most possibilities as possible. And in the end, that's going to come with a little bit of a price tag, because if you want to have everything integrated into the platform and you want to go into an ecosystem, it's probably going to be kind of a little bit more expensive than like if you went with an open source route. So it's preference in the end, kind of, I guess, from that perspective.
Yeah, but sometimes people think that WordPress is less expensive, but if it's something that you cannot handle by yourself, you need someone else to do it. Can be the same in the end. I mean, I know that for me and for us as an agency that we didn't go with WordPress because it was Webflow for us was simpler to use, and we really like that the ecosystem that they have. They have their own hosting, which is super fast, cloud based, and with WordPress you always need to go with other hosting providers. So this was kind of like one of the things why we went with the Webflow, to be honest. But is there any reason why the Flow Ninja went with Webflow and not the WordPress or other platform instead?
Yeah, so I mean, like that decision was made in 2015, so like a really while back ago. And looking at that, I mean, when I go ahead and take a look at kind of Webflow as a platform, at that point I was using WordPress, and whatever I wanted to do, I did not know how to code, and like I needed to install a plugin. Versus when I joined Webflow, I would like start to like do things in Webflow. I figured out that a lot of things I can do actually. And I also learned kind of, let's say in the end, I learned development through Webflow, which I could not learn development through kind of WordPress. So because of that, it just allowed me a lot more flexibility inside of the platform without the need to write custom code. And in the meantime, I actually learned how to write custom code, and I was able to customize the website even more. So in terms of that, like my decision was mostly, I don't want to rely on like 10 different plugins for pop-ups and stuff like that. I want to ensure that whatever I build, I can build it on my own, and that I can kind of make a global website with global components, and that everything is custom, and that it's not like that every single time when I'm building a website, I'm adjusting a template to look like the website I designed, instead of that I'm actually creating a custom website from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean, there's many different things between these two platforms, but do you think that WordPress is kind of, I don't know, not as good because of they don't have their own hosting. I mean, do you think it's good for them to have just, give someone else to take care of the hosting, or they should follow the Webflow in that
I don't
direction?
know. I mean, like technically you have. I mean, like I know you have platforms like WP Engine, like which had their own hosting. So technically you do have kind of WordPress solutions where it's not directly from WordPress, but even like WordPress, like Automatic has a parent company which offers WordPress hosting integrated into the platform. So they do have that, but again, it's just an open source platform. Not everything is under one roof. You have a lot of different companies creating different things, and like sometimes that can cause conflicts, like the WP Engine
Yeah.
kind of conflict where people are not sure what's open source, what they can change, what cannot change, and like that causes a little bit of confusion. So, like to give you the best answer is like I don't know. Integrated hosting tools for WordPress are available, but I guess that maybe at one point people like to maybe host on their own. Sometimes they use those tools, and like it's just
Yeah.
still not streamlined because even though if you're choosing kind of WordPress and like you wanted to be manage the WordPress hosting, kind of like manage WordPress instance, you again have 10 different WordPress managed instances to kind of choose from. Versus like
Yeah.
on Webflow, now you're going with Webflow and that's it. But in this case, you need to make sure that you actually went with the right platform. Like it's gonna be maybe WordPress VIP or something like that if you're enterprise. I don't know.
I think you did compare it well, like Android and Apple, because with the Webflow, I know many of my clients that they just don't want to think about this kind of stuff. They don't want to think about finding a good hosting provider, having issues maybe with them or not. They want to think about all of this stuff. They want to have their website done. They want to work on the website, on the content, on the landing pages, website update, all this stuff, and not focusing on this technical stuff. So yeah, for some is maybe a preference, but for some is also easy of use
Yeah.
to call it maybe like that. But what do you think if we compare Webflow with Drupal, because that's kind of a different thing, how Webflow stands with that?
I mean, I guess probably. I mean, like there are like Drupal updates and stuff like that, which can be costly to update. So like when you need to update from one Drupal instance to the other. So like I think maybe the biggest difference is that like on Webflow you're gonna have automatic updates. So whenever Webflow releases an update, it's gonna be compatible with all of the websites that are available online. Versus
Hmm.
on the other side where you need to do manual updates. I mean, we do kind of Drupal migrations also from time to time. So we had good experiences, but whoever is listening to two Webflow agency owners who want to tell that Webflow is the best. So again, a real conversation probably in this case would be like a head to head with a Drupal kind of agency, and they ask how do you do this, and like we answered, and like we ask them how do you do this. So that way, I
Yeah.
think we can get a more realistic answer when it comes to that, so that it's not me running a 50-person Webflow agency telling everybody that kind of Webflow is the best.
Yeah, no, but sometimes, I mean, we do focus on Webflow, but sometimes we also work with the HubSpot as well, because some clients just prefer it that way. And Webflow also has a good collaboration, let's say, with HubSpot as well, because some people like to keep their CRM and everything sales or maybe marketing regarding on HubSpot. And it's good that Webflow has that integration. But for the Drupal, I mean, I like to compare Webflow with other platforms just to see how it stands, and who knows? I mean, just to see how Webflow is gonna show up when you compare it with other platforms. So, do you think now it's a good time to invest in no-code solutions for website development
I mean, like in which way? Like for clients to
as
invest
a company, maybe?
that you can start using kind of Webflow for your marketing website, or that you can open an agency kind of doing kind of no codes.
To use it as a marketing website?
Yeah. So I mean, like I do believe that in the end, it's also gonna depend on kind of what's your traffic kind of amount and kind of how big of a bottleneck you have. Because I'm telling
Mm.
everybody that Webflow is not gonna be the best. I mean, like the best CMS for everybody, and it's not gonna be the largest CMS shareholder. I mean, like they currently have like 1% of market share, and like they have I don't know like 250 to 300 million in revenue. They just need to have 3% market share to have a billion in revenue, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So looking at that, it's just about figuring out your needs. So do you have a lot of traffic on your website? If you don't, maybe at that point it doesn't even matter which CMS you use, because you're not making a lot of updates to the website. The website is there just as a postcard, and you're maybe not going to be able to see all the benefits of Webflow. But as you start getting more traffic, your website becomes more of a core business asset of your company. That's when kind of Webflow is kind of a really good thing to invest in, because it's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to give you a lot more flexibility. and it's going to allow you to scale without ease and to also kind of rank on Google and everywhere else kind of out of the box.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, that a lot of big companies are having and transferring their website to Webflow for marketing purposes, like NCR and Upwork, as you mentioned as well. So that can kind of tell people it's a good platform to use and to invest. So we'll see. I mean, time will tell. I don't doubt that Webflow will continue pushing cool and innovative stuff into that direction. So we'll see how that's gonna play out. Yeah, sorry, my nose is just still not fully recovered. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there is a lot of other stuff that we can talk about, but yeah, I'm trying to keep this format around 30 minutes. So let's see how maybe if people request to be longer, then we can consider having longer in the future. For now, I hope you guys like this kind of short discussion about Webflow and agency life within Webflow. So can you just quickly tell us how people can find you online, how can reach out to you and Flow Ninja?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, like, you can go to my LinkedIn, you can shoot me a message. I'm trying to keep up with all the messages. There is a lot of them. So I might not be the fastest one to respond, but I promise you're going to get a response at one point. And I don't use Instagram a lot, so if you send me messages on Instagram, they're probably not going to get responded. So, like, in the end, like, LinkedIn is probably the best way to reach out and to also visit our website and kind of see everything we do.
Okay. Thank you so much for this talk, and I hope we'll talk sometime again in the future.
Yes, of course.
See you guys. Bye.